In Japan, the onset of spring is defined by the blooming of the sakura. For over a millennium, the tradition of hanami has centered on these delicate blooms, celebrating the fleeting nature of life itself. That exact fragility now dictates the logistics of a massive modern economy, expanding at a rate that has pushed annual hanami revenue to $9.43 billion. This delicate flower serves as a major fiscal catalyst for the nation. Over 123 million Japanese citizens and millions of international tourists coordinate their travel, hotel bookings, and park visits around a moving wave of blooms traveling from the southern prefectures to the north. Local governments organize sprawling festivals, requiring the advance procurement of security personnel and vendor permits. To understand the scale of that financial injection, consider Japan's most famous modern cultural export. The financial activity generated by the brief cherry blossom season is roughly 10 times larger than the annual economic impact of baseball phenomenon Shohei Ohtani. Because the flowers only stay on the trees for roughly 7 days, this creates a severe structural vulnerability. Airlines, railway networks, and hospitality conglomerates adjust their capacity and dynamic pricing based on expected bloom schedules. A forecast that misses the mark by even 3 to 4 days results in catastrophic inventory spoilage for retailers and complete logistical chaos for municipal planners. The Samei Yoshino variety operates on a specific biological cycle. Its buds form a full year in advance and remain in deep dormancy until triggered by a precise environmental sequence. This timeline shows the biological recipe forecasters must track. A dormant bud only awakens after reaching a specific threshold of cold exposure. Once met, the accumulation of spring heat accelerates its growth toward flowering. For decades, a Japan Meteorological Agency attempted to decode this process using deterministic computer models. These legacy programs relied on rigid mathematical formulas and historical weather patterns, making them highly vulnerable to localized anomalies and software bugs. The system failed spectacularly during the 2007 season. A foundational software glitch caused the agency's models to miss actual bloom dates by up to 9 days in several prominent locations. The massive disruption to social and economic planning escalated into a national embarrassment, forcing the agency's chief forecaster to issue a televised public apology and a deep bow of contrition. The 2007 failure proved that rigid mathematical models cannot account for the fragile, chaotic behavior of the natural world. The historical record provides a baseline, but anthropogenic climate change is shifting temperatures so rapidly that old data no longer applies. Rising global greenhouse gas emissions and the urban heat island effect are moving the phenological calendar earlier every year. This temperature instability creates a biological paradox. An unseasonably warm winter fails to provide the necessary cold exposure to the trees. Without that deep freeze to break their dormancy, the buds remain asleep, and the spring bloom is delayed, even if the subsequent spring months are sweltering. This climatic volatility compounds a massive infrastructural crisis. Millions of Somei Yoshino cherry trees planted during post-war reconstruction are genetic clones reaching the end of their lifespan. Now 70 to 80 years old, a huge portion of the national canopy is rotting from the inside out. Older trees with internal decay become highly susceptible to sudden collapse during typhoons, posing an immediate physical danger to the public gathering beneath. Local governments lacked the specialized arborist manpower to physically audit millions of trees. To manage these dual crises of climate chaos and nationwide arboreal decay, the private sector abandoned traditional methods and turned to artificial intelligence. Weather News solved the data gap by discarding top-down weather models in favor of bottom-up algorithmic crowdsourcing. Through their Sakura project, they ask millions of users to select a local tree and continuously photograph its progress from winter dormancy through spring bloom. Over 2 decades, this initiative amassed a dataset of millions of user-submitted photographic reports. On a single spring weekend, the company's proprietary computer vision model autonomously ingests and processes over 8,000 raw smartphone photos uploaded by ordinary citizens. The AI system analyzes submitted images through an 8-stage classification matrix, quantifying their exact proximity to blooming. This biological data is then overlaid onto a topographical mesh map, cross-referencing visual reports with spatial data to account for highly specific urban microclimates. Kirin Brewery deployed a parallel AI computer vision system to conserve aging trees. The tool allows tourists to photograph cherry trees, while the AI analyzes branch density and structural rot to assign each tree a diagnostic health score. By synthesizing millions of individual smartphone reports, these algorithms transform ordinary citizens into a massive, decentralized environmental sensor network. The technology tracking delicate cherry blossoms serves as a high-stakes stress test for Japan's broader national security apparatus. This interface monitors data from the Japanese coastline. To manage a volatile environment, the government utilizes AI frameworks to filter vast streams of sensor measurements and localize telemetry. Private crisis management systems like SpecT Pro operate on the exact same architecture as the Sakura project. They continuously ingest data from public social media posts and live municipal cameras, using computer vision to instantly map rising floodwaters and verifying real-time disaster conditions. By fusing crowdsourced imagery with algorithmic filtering, these systems direct emergency response units past digital noise and toward collapsed infrastructure and landslide debris. Faced with a shrinking labor pool and constant environmental threats, the Japanese state treats pervasive AI integration as an essential architecture of its national resilience. Expanding this technology creates a profound environmental paradox. Training and operating deep learning models requires massive arrays of servers that consume staggering amounts of electricity and fresh water, actively exacerbating the climate change pressures they are attempting to monitor. The algorithms also possess a structural vulnerability. If left alone, the neural networks suffer from algorithmic drift. To maintain their predictive precision, the system requires human domain experts to manually review flagged images and continuously retrain the AI. Despite having access to billions of processed data points, official forecasters still perform physical shoe leather work. Veteran meteorologists continue to physically travel to the Yasukuni Shrine in central Tokyo to inspect the benchmark trees in person. Ultimately, human experts must provide the absolute ground truth verification, meticulously ensuring that the digital output accurately tracks the physical world. Navigating the volatility of the Anthropocene requires a collaborative synthesis between hyper-modern algorithms and ancient physical observation.